What is up, pal fam, and welcome to day 30 of Countdown to FIDE 100. My name is Paul Emmanuel Habaradas, aka Paul POW. 70 to go on our stuff. Like, I mean, we are down to 70. I mean, like 30 down, 70 to go. I'm so confused about it, but anyway, let's take a look on a game between Yuri Averbakh and Alexander Kotov. And it's going to be interesting as it seems, but this game is worth 53 moves. So let's find out how this game goes on. Let's start with Yuri goes with d4 and Alexander goes knight f6. And the game goes with c4, hold up, c4, d6, knight f3, knight bd7, knight c3, e5, e4, bishop e7, bishop e2, castles and castles, c6, queen c2, rook e8, rook d1, bishop f8, and rook b1. I've heard about this, but this bishop hasn't been developed yet. So, going back with bishop f8, if it's, let's see with d5, a5, bishop e3, knight g4, bishop d2, knight c5, h3, knight f6, bishop d3, and bishop e7. White is in a slight advantage because this threat of a double pawn, I guess, and probably I would say like he also tries to go for this, or I'll go like takes right there. Something interesting is going to happen on the C file. That's what I'm thinking. And I could say this bishop is the only one. So it's indeed fact that white is in a slight advantage, and this bishop can only go here. He cannot go here because it was defending. Okay, going back with rook b1, the game goes with a5. I think he has plans on a4, but the position is maybe equal after this. And then g6, bishop g5, queen e7, f3, and h6, and bishop f4, knight to h5, and yes, indeed, it still goes on to be equal. Can probably say that this may not work because probably start taking this, and I could probably go right there, or we can say that this pawn is going to move forward there, and probably the bishop has to go here and not there, because you're going to take it a double pawn, and then white may be in a slight disadvantage because of the bishop pair. Going back with a5, then there goes d5, knight c5, bishop e3, queen c7, and h3. I don't know what just happened, what was coming out in my mouth. Speaking of h3, it could have been done with bishop right there. It could be fine, but I think it's not that good to do this and this, because this pawn might be called the backward pawn, and then probably like go here. That's what I'm thinking about this. But with knight d2, bishop d7, rook bc1, knight g4, bishop, rook e1, bishop d7, b3 and queen d8, saying that white is in a slight advantage. So that position is better if Yuri goes knight d2 instead of h3. And probably like gonna take, and this pawn is on a pawn island, so it's isolated. And then I can go like bishop takes, and the problem of a doubled pawn. Now there are two pawn islands, and this is a huge problem for black. Now that's why black is having a slight advantage as it is. Going back to h3, Alexander Kotov goes with bishop d7, rook bc1, and g6. Yes, it seems interesting after all, but what about c takes d5, e takes d5, g6, b3, bishop g7, knight to d2, rook ec8, g4, and knight e8, and that would be an equal position. Probably like takes here, or you can go like queen there. It maybe go here and here to threat this knight. So yeah, going back with g6, knight to d2, rook a b8, and knight b3, and they take. So instead of knight b3, there's bishop b6 only, b6, and a knight takes, b takes, d takes, bishop b3, queen b7, bishop f3, and h6. Yeah, I think it could work. This queen. Yeah. This bishop pair are a huge problem for black. It cannot move here. So the good thing is here. And for white, for the dark squared bishop, is this. Unlike this bishop pair, it's also a problem as well. I think it can only go here and here. Cannot go here because the bishop pair is a huge problem as well. It will be good to take this if there's a queen right there, and he can just like go for that. So yeah, back to knight takes b3, queen takes b3, c5, king h2, king h8, queen c2, knight g8, bishop g4, knight h6. Let's going back this with b6, rook f1, bishop g7, the exchange, g4, f6, f3, rook f8, and queen d2. It's a bit interesting that we see here, but it's nowhere near as good to go for this. But that means there's both players agreed to just have a bishop, like solo bishops, with both of them are in dark squares. So they're going to probably like occupy this, but I don't know. With knight h6, yeah, they exchange in the main game, and then Yuri goes with queen d2 and then knight g8, g4, f5, and f3. It's a bit interesting, and we see here so that both players has still completed pawns, but the variation suggests that it's g takes f5, g takes, e takes, queen takes, rook to g1, bishop e7, queen e2, rook f8, and rook g3. Yeah, white is in a slight advantage, and I think the plan is this. He cannot go here because it's gonna be taken here, so probably I can say that rook g2 could do the trick. Yeah. Back to f3, bishop e7, but it says better is f4. No, not bishop takes. Bishop f2, bishop e7, rook h1, knight f6, queen d1, rook f8, queen a4, and then they exchange. So the position will go equal, and this is still like a main stuff happening here on this variation, and the good thing for black is just right here, and then oops, go here, or maybe here, knight, and there. I think that could be the one, but this bishop is a huge problem. Can only go here and then go there. For this bishop, you can go here and try to take over this d8 to h4 diagonal and go right there. This like feels like a spider or something. If this one, that should work as well, but that's the only possible move. Okay, back to bishop e7. Moving on with rook g1. Far from over, but who cares? But a better one is e takes f5, g takes, rook g, not king g1, rook g1, knight f6, queen d3, f4, bishop f2, rook to g8, b3, and rook bf8, and white having a slight advantage. Presumably say that he's trying to go with this. Okay, back to rook g1 and then rook f8. Hello? Okay. Better one, however, is f4, bishop f2, knight h6, h4, rook g8, b3, king g7, knight b5, b6, and rook ce1. I can say it's a bit fine, but that's the only move for good for black. It's not good to do this because of a fork. And if that happens, like takes and then knight. So it's not good to go there. And for the knight, the only good move is this and nothing else. And then like go here, knight, and that's it. Let's go back with rook f, and then rook cf1. I think it's a bit interesting that we see that, but the better one is g takes, e takes, queen takes, rook cf1, queen h5, knight to e4, knight to f6, knight g3, and white's going to have a slight advantage, and he can go here, but I can presumably say like probably like he's gonna take here. So he's gonna like go back here and then takes, yeah. Rook cf1, and then Alexander made a mistake with rook f7. Yeah, I don't know why, but there's a problem. So it could have done with f4, bishop f2, a4, rook b1, h6, queen c2, rook a8, rook h1, king g7, and h4, and the position goes on to be equal. But however, with this mistake, Yuri Averbakh also made a mistake with g takes f5. It's a big problem right now, but you can say that e takes f5 could be good. G takes f4, bishop f6, g5, bishop g7, h4, b6, b3, and rook e7. White is better in this position, so you can like go knight here and knight here. But I think it's not recommended to go knight there. Or yeah. And then that is like ready to attack for white. With this g takes f5 mistake, then there's g takes f5, and Yuri again made a mistake with rook g2. I don't know why, but what's going on. But let's go takes instead, and then knight e4, knight f6, bishop h6, knight takes f takes. Oh, variation says, oops, whoops, whoops. This mouse has nose. I wonder if I just like sacrificed, so it takes, and that's it. So he has plans. He gives up the queen for 2 rooks, and then if he goes back here and then goes here to avoid checkmate, because that's the plan for white. Yeah. Going back with rook g2, then there goes f4, bishop f2, rook f6, and Yuri again made a mistake with knight e2. Tons of it. But if it's done with h4, rook h6, rook h1, bishop takes, king g1, bishop queen, or queen, not king, rook king, and then the position goes equal. So I can say that this pawn chain could have worked to be ready up for promotion. But that's far for it. And I can say like queen here and then something like that. Back to knight e2. Yuri's Alexander sacrificed the queen. And then there's king. Wow, that is crazy. But let's find out what's happening at the end. Whoa. Yuri also sacrificed that rook. What's his plan? If he goes like takes, and then goes on to check and loses the king, the rook anyway. But yeah, I think rook g1 is good and all, but this knight, king, and all the stuff, that would have been crazy. Back to king f8, rook f8 rather, king g4, and then just trying to negotiate for a draw, and then he sacrificed the knight, and then king g4, knight f6, king f5, knight g8. He's doing like back and forth and all this stuff. Is he negotiating for a draw? And then, oh wow. So rook g8. If the game would have continued, there would have been go sacrifice king h3, and then king f7, a4, rook g2, king h3, and white is winning. So with this rook g8, it concludes with a4, rook g2, and king h3, and Yuri resigned because there's no hope. I can say that he's going to, he's going to lose a queen, but that's unrecommended. And if he goes here, free queen. However, if he goes here, also a free queen. So no choice for white. And it's over. That is absolutely crazy. Well, that should be it. Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe and become a Patreon member at patreon.com/PaulPower. Don't forget to subscribe also to my vlog channel, POW Vlogs. Follow me on Twitch, Paul Habaradas, X Paul Habaradas, TikTok, Paul Habaradas, Instagram, Paul Power YT, Threads, Paul Power YT, and Facebook, Paul Power YT. Join the Discord community and get 20% off when you buy any plan on Chessmood. Link is in the description. And as always, I'll see you tomorrow for the countdown to FIDE 100. Tomorrow, we'll find out the best game on the FIDE's 30th anniversary, 1954.